As you can see, some things are a little bit weird. This is our first video, or our first podcast with actual video. So, it's just two of us today. I'm Justin.
I'm Connor.
So, about a week ago, to the day. Oh,
yeah,
yesterday.
Yesterday would be
a week before yesterday, yeah. We all sat down as part of our game night group to watch The Disaster Artist. So, we have a few words about that. Do you want to start?
So, the movie itself was very interesting.
To say the least. It's Robot Crab. He's shy. I'm okay. Yeah.
Love Robot Crab.
Robot Crab is the best. So, if you've met us before, we love watching awful movies. Specifically me. I love awful movies. More so than anyone.
But he can't watch them on his own because he likes to joke during them. If it's the first time he's seen it, it's like shotgun shots with his jokes. But then, like, after he's seen it, he knows how to perfectly time his jokes, and he does that.
But, so, The Room, which is the movie that the Disaster Artist is a mockumentary kind of about, is one of the best so bad it's good movies ever made. So, I'm going to talk about The Room for a little bit. If you don't know about The Room, first of all, go watch it, you uncultured swine. If you look at the casting credits, you'll see the name Tommy Wiseau about 300 times.
For every new line, he's there.
Like, the only thing he didn't do was act every role, and even then, he was the main character. Tommy Wiseau as a person...
I feel like if he could, he would have acted every role.
Oh, I firmly agree with that. Like, he
put on a wig, be Lisa, put on, like, a fake beard to
be Greg. Yeah. So the Room stars Tommy Wiseau. He does everything. He wrote the movie, produced it, directed it, and he played the main character. And his best friend, Greg Sestero, who played Mark. One of the three main characters. So there's three main characters, Mark... Lisa, and I can never remember Tommy Wiseau's character's name.
Because I just know it as Tommy Wiseau.
No, it's not Tommy.
It's not Tommy.
Yeah, you're going to Google it on the spot.
Yes, I'm Googling it.
But yeah. So, The Disaster Artist itself stars James and Dave Franco. James Franco playing Tommy Wiseau, and Dave Franco playing Greg Sestero. And it's like, this is how Greg Sestero met Tommy Wiseau. That's cool. And this is how, like, they got around to making The Room. And then here's the making of The Room. And then it ends with, like, the very first showing of The Room. Johnny. Yeah. So, do you have anything to say about, like, The Room before we go completely into The Disaster Artist?
So...
It's an experience.
The first time that I ever saw The Room was with you.
And it was also my first time watching The Room.
Yeah, and it was very awkward because we didn't know that the first 30 minutes was just straight sex.
Yeah, it's a very, very graphic 30 minutes of, like, non-stop sex scenes, which they parody in The Disaster Artist. Or, I say parody loosely, because it is an almost verbatim reenactment. Because The Disaster Artist is based off of Greg Sestero's, like, autobiography of how The Room was made. Because they were, in real life, they're best friends. Or, I don't know if they're really best friends. Like, well, it says Greg and Mark still talk every day.
Yeah, but we don't know if that's just Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, it's not Greg and Mark, it's Greg and Tommy. So yeah, we don't know if it's just Tommy Wiseau being Tommy Wiseau and being like, he my best friend. Because Tommy Wiseau is a character in and of himself. He is a person that I don't understand how he exists. We don't know how he made money, because he funded The Room all by himself for like $6 million.
And while funding The Room, he was able to live in LA
and he also had like a dozen other apartments, it feels like, across the country.
I mean, he had this big, like, you know how they have in cartoons when there's a jail sale, they have the huge key ring of just keys?
Yeah.
He had one of those.
And so, like, I don't understand how, and they lived it up when they were in LA. Him and Greg.
Like, he went to, like, the swanky restaurants.
Swanky restaurants that are, like, 5-star. They went to clubs every night, probably breaking the bank. Like, I want to know how he made his money, which even they make a joke about that in The Disaster Artist, about how, like, nobody, to this day, no one knows how he makes money.
No one
And, like,
knows how old
we
he
Googled
is.
it, they don't know how old he is either. Like, there's a running joke in that, too, where Greg asks him how old he is.
No,
He's like, I'm
Greg's
your
mom.
age. Yeah, Greg's mom asks him, but Greg also brings it on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how old are you? I'm your age. But he's
You're
clearly, like,
19.
30 years older than Greg, it looks like. Because Greg is, like, the movie starts off with Greg being 19. And, so, like, there's no way he's 19 in that scene. When Greg is 19, he's probably in his 30s. At minimum. But, yeah, so The Disaster Artist is actually based off of Greg Sestero's actual memoir about it, about the room. And it's actually...
He knows how old he is.
If Greg knows?
Yeah.
I don't think Greg knows.
I mean, who could? Tommy was.
I wonder if Tommy knows how old Tommy is.
No. He's a 1,000-year-old cryptid, okay?
He's some
Once
kind of,
you
like...
get old enough, you forget how old you are.
It's the fog of ages. And they make jokes about that throughout The Disaster Artist. So, like, you could be an excellent villain. And he's like, I don't want to be a villain. I want to be a hero. Which, so be it. Didn't really work out too well for him.
I'm not a villain, I'm a hero.
Yeah. So, like, it's based on Greg Sestero's memoirs. And it's very, like, I've read the book. And it's really good. And it's basically, it is almost verbatim with the book. I don't know if it's actually, I don't remember if it's in the book or not, but the only thing I think that they left out was how Greg Sestero wasn't meant to play Mark. It was actually another person that was hired to play Mark. And Greg was like, I'll be here as an advisor. I'll help my friend. And instead, like, Tommy Wiseau pulled some really Machiavellian garbage and, like, basically tricked Mark into taking the role.
Oh, and we went off topic there, but when we Googled how Tommy Wiseau made his money, because we were curious.
We actually Googled it, and, like, it's like he apparently sold real estate and then had a leather jacket business or something in the early 2000s or late 90s, somewhere in there. And I'm like, I don't think that explains thoroughly.
It doesn't, because, like, real estate, like, I guess I can see how
you can
that
see
would
real
make
estate
money,
getting money, but yeah,
but not that much, not to that extent.
I can see it. I mean, that's how most, like, moguls now have made money.
But then, how does the leather jacket go with this?
I don't know. I can see him wearing leather jackets every day.
Yeah, you can see him doing it.
Yeah, so, like, my only complaint about the movie, really, and it's not really a complaint, it's because, like, I have a very, very weird sense of suspension of disbelief. If you listen to our podcast before, you'll know that, like, I'm usually the most critical about nonsensical elements. Because, like, I like there to be some kind of consistency in a movie. That way, there's a lack of plot holes. And because plot holes destroy narratives.
Tommy Wiseau himself is not consistent.
Yeah,
so.
but like, I could not accept that James Franco was playing Tommy Wiseau accurately at first. But it took me about 10 minutes. I was like, wait a minute. No, never mind. He's just Tommy Wiseau. He is naturally this freaking weird.
Like, me and Sarah, who we had game night with, we were talking during the movie, of course, and one thing that we had said is, do you think he just does a really good Tommy Wiseau impression on his resume?
Yeah, like, because Tommy Wiseau as a character as a person is so weird. No one knows where he's from. He kept saying Louisiana, but his accent was like borderline Transylvanian, you know.
Headcanon, Tommy Wiseau is the original vampire.
Yeah. No one knows how he makes money. He was claiming to be Greg's age, so 19 to what would you say, like 26 at the oldest? He was claiming to be Greg's age the whole movie, but he was clearly late 30s to early 50s, somewhere in there. Like, this, and he hasn't, like, if you look at a picture of Tommy Wiseau to this day, he hasn't aged a day. Like, this dude, he looks good for his age compared to, like, what he looked like in The Room.
I mean, if we think his age is as advanced as it is.
And he could literally actually just be as old as Greg somehow, but I don't know how he's still self-financed or owned that many, like, swanky apartments and lived up in L.A. But yeah, so, and my only other complaint really was, I think, because I had the one other where it's like Dave Franco didn't really, I don't feel like he looked the part of Mark, or of Greg who played Mark.
But with the beard, like...
But when he grew his beard, it looked exactly like...
The thing is, though, is that I had never seen Greg without the beard.
I haven't either.
So
that was my issue.
Seeing him with the beard.
Well, aside from
like,
the scene in the room where he doesn't
it.
have a beard, but that's like a split second.
And like at that point, I'm just like, wait, is that Mark? Yeah, that's Mark. Okay.
Yeah. So the movie was just fantastic, though. Like I wasn't really sold on it as a movie because like I read the book and the book was great, but it felt good as a book. And then I've seen The Room, and it's great. Go watch it.
The casting decisions for their cast of The Room, it looked spot on.
Yeah, or no, hang on. Because we had this conversation
this is
before.
what I'm saying. Is
yeah.
that it looked spot on when you were watching it. But then, like, at the end, they showed you a side-by-side comparison of their scenes and The Room scenes, and it's like, oh, wait, no, that's not right.
Like, the reference that we kept talking about was Lisa. The actress they had playing Lisa, or the character, the actor. So the actress they had playing the actress who played Lisa in The Disaster Artist.
Like
she looks spot on while you're watching The Disaster Artist. But then when you do a side-by-side comparison, she looks completely different.
Yeah.
And it's like a Mandela effect type deal. Like, I remember Lisa looking like this, but then I actually see Lisa in the actual room, and I'm like, hang on.
Like, her face is a bit rounder, her eyes are a bit bigger.
Yeah. She had the whole pouty thing going on, whereas the actress they had playing Lisa, or the actress they had playing the actress who played Lisa in Disaster Artist, she looked like just your traditional Hollywood actress. Like your standard, like, oh, she's just beautiful, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
The grandma, like, the voice sounded perfect, and the look was great, and then seeing the side-by-side, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, this is a bit challenging, a bit unnerving.
But, like, also, like, at the end when they're showing The Room in the theater thing, I was like, this looks a lot worse than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Because they were parodying, like, they were, like, upping the cringe factor.
Yeah. But it was still good. Like, it was still a very faithful comparison, I think.
Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should remake The Room. No, we should remake Troll 2.
You're gonna
eat him. And then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god. Oh! We should remake The Holy Mountain. I'll be Jesus. I'll be the Jesus character. I will grow my hair and beard out, and I will eat myself. If you haven't seen The Holy Mountain or Troll 2,
don't see The Holy Mountain.
Don't listen to her. Go watch it's the best bad movie ever.
Holy Mountain is awful. I would say Troll 2. You can watch that, not The Holy Mountain.
Go watch The Holy Mountain.
I hated my experience with that.
It was a great movie, you know it. Jesus ate himself.
Exactly, but there was worse than that. That was in the beginning.
But yeah, so what would you rate, like, The Disaster Artist? Like, out of 10?
If I had not seen The Room before and didn't know anything going in, it would have been, like, a 9 out of 10.
Actually,
due to the fact that it does explain stuff.
Yeah, that's actually, like, something that I think is very important to note. Like, have you seen The Room? Like, in my opinion, don't watch The Disaster Artist if you have not seen The Room.
Like, I would say it's still a 9 out of 10 when, like, if you don't see it, because it does explain everything, and it does show you some of what The Room is.
Yeah.
But, like, if you know everything that you know and you've seen the movie, then it is a straight 10. Because, like, I really liked it, and I really enjoyed it, and, you know, I liked The Room myself.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it was a good movie if you haven't seen The Room. If you don't have the context of The Room, this is an awful movie.
I mean,
it's just a weird movie.
Everything.
I mean, they don't really do it.
But, like, also, like, the thing is that pop culture, you're gonna know
at least a little
about
bit.
Tommy Wiseau anyways.
At this point, in the age of the internet, like, I remember before I even seen The Room, before I had ever even seen it, and I didn't have the context for it. I knew "You're tearing me apart" scene, you know? Because
like
it was in every YouTube, it was in a bunch of YouTube compilations of people mimicking it.
But, like, also, if you somehow don't know anything about Tommy Wiseau, then you're not going to like the movie at all.
Yeah.
Like, the big thing that you have to know something about is Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah. Because I would say, like, so Greg is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. Greg is...
I mean, it is from his point of view.
It is
it's
almost
from his
entirely
memoirs,
from his...
whatever
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, honestly, they're both the main characters. Like, they're both protagonists. But I think you get more of Greg's perspective.
Yeah. And it's
Which,
because the book
so,
was written from him.
Yeah, and, like, so as a result, you get a lot more of, like, the cringe factor when it comes to Tommy Wiseau's behaviors. Because,
I want
like,
a movie from Tommy Wiseau's point of view.
I do, too. I want to see Best Friends. Best Friends, or it's like with the R's in parentheses, so it's Best Fiends. I want to see that, because it's starring Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau, and it's about, like, their road trip they took that night that they decided to move to L.A., apparently. Because apparently, and it's in The Disaster Artist, they took a road trip for, like, a night, and it was, like, the first night they met, basically.
Yeah.
They went on a road trip, which is really weird. I know the whole movie at the very beginning, or I say the whole at the very beginning. At the very beginning of the movie, when, like, if I didn't know Tommy Wiseau, I was like, oh no, he's gonna molest this 19-year-old.
Yeah, like, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, like, it felt like a really, like, predatory thing.
And like, even Greg's mom was, like, really suspicious about
Yeah.
it.
Are you gonna, like, you're taking my 19-year-old son? Like, is that is it really molesting? I mean, the verb molest still applies, but, like, criminal molestation, it'd just be rape, right? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it was really, 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 really weird.
And, like, Tommy Wiseau was really creepy.
My favorite scene is probably when he's reading Shakespeare to the movie producer.
Okay, that made me cringe, and I had, like, the biggest bout of secondhand embarrassment. I couldn't watch it.
So, yeah, there's
a
scene in the Disaster Artist where Tommy Wiseau's at this really swanky 5-star restaurant. He's just finishing his meal. He's reading a script or something like that. He sees someone he knows is a big Hollywood producer, which I'm not sure if we were given context for him at all before that. So you have no way of knowing. There might have been like a one throwaway line, like him in a picture, like on a newspaper or something that we just didn't see.
No. No.
I don't remember it. But for all we know, just because we don't remember it doesn't mean it wasn't there. In fact, because we don't remember it, we can't say it wasn't there. But yeah, I don't know if we had real context to know who this person was, but we're given context in the scene that he's a big Hollywood producer or director.
And like he's having dinner with his girlfriend or wife or something
at this swanky restaurant, and Tommy Wiseau comes up and like, oh hi, I am an actor and I want to be big in Hollywood. And he starts reading off Shakespeare.
Like, very loudly.
Very emphatically, very loudly. And, like, just embarrassing this producer. And he's like, the security basically came and, like, got him out. And the guy's like, he got through 2 acts of Shakespeare, and you guys still, like, it took you that long. My night's already ruined. Ugh. So good. Yeah, I would give it, if I hadn't seen The Room,
Robot Crab's my favorite scene.
Yeah, Robot Crab's great. So at the very beginning of the movie, he gets in a car with, Greg gets in a car with Tommy to drive to L.A. They're officially moving to L.A. together.
Like, one of the first things that Tommy says when Greg gets in the car is, don't look at Robot Crab, he's shy.
And there's like a little bionicle crab on the dashboard. Or I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
It was like, it was
looked
either
like one of those bionicle models, though.
Yeah, it looked like a bionicle model or like a Zoids model kit of a crab. Don't look at Robot Crab, he's shy. And it was just like, no, I can't do this.
That's when you first started doubting James Franco.
I was just like, they open it fantastically, because they open the movie with James Franco, or Dave Franco's Greg. They open the movie with Greg at an acting class, and just not really selling the scene very well. And then it cuts to Tommy Wiseau just eating scenery.
He grabbed this chick and was like, let's do a scene.
Let's do a scene.
And then he just starts acting. And she doesn't know what they're doing. She asked and he didn't even tell her anything.
Yeah, and he didn't even use her.
No, he didn't.
He just pulled her into the scene just to have her in the scene as like just set piece. It was really weird. But yeah, so like if you haven't seen The Room, I would if I hadn't seen The Room or had any context, I probably would have hated the movie. Because it just doesn't make any sense. They're just nonsensical character that if I didn't have any context, I could not have believed it to be real. but I know this guy to be real, and I want to make it my life's like mission to meet Tommy Wiseau and be his friend. Imagine if I were friends with Tommy Wiseau.
You're gonna take Greg's place.
I'm not gonna take Greg's place. No one can take Greg's place. Greg has a solid seat in Tommy's heart.
I'm just saying, if Greg ever dies, like you automatically get his place.
I gotta grow my beard back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like second place friend until Greg dies.
Until Greg dies. God.
I mean, Tommy Wiseau's not gonna die. We know
No,
this.
he's basically immortal.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, I think this is going to bring this conversation to a close. We are the crumbs on the carpet, or at least two pieces of the crumbs on the carpet. We are two of the crumbs on the carpet, those two that you just can't get out.
You know, and then you lay down on the floor, maybe you were vacuuming or something, or you had to pick up something,
find
and you
the
just
gross
feel
crap.
it.
Yeah. If you want to get and communicate with us, I'm sure enough words, I use them sometimes. If you want to communicate with us as a whole, you can email us at crumbsonthecarpet2018@gmail.com. If you want to get to either of us individually, you can meet me on any social media platform. I prefer Twitter at Justin27M.
I am Mad Scientist 369 on most social media except for Tumblr, but no one's getting that.
So, there's your task. Find her Tumblr. Anyway, we are the Crumbs on the Carpet, and we are signing out.